Hello, everyone, and welcome to Get More Clients. I'm your host, Lynn Whitbeck. Business owners and entrepreneurs hire me to ignite winning sales because most are chasing down clients, stuck in a chaotic sales cycle, and lacking client retention, conversions, and profits. The mission of this show is to educate, inspire, and motivate women around the world to build a robust sales strategy to get more clients, because most can't get more clients and haven't a clue why. You will learn to transform thinking to the client's perspective and sales chaos with a robust strategic plan and to harvest the hidden profits. You will also have the opportunity to connect with me further and see how I can support you beyond today and this show. One time when I was traveling with my mom, actually, we were headed back to the airport. We were going to Montreal to fly home, and we have a rental car, and the signs go from being in French and English to being all French as we enter the area of the airport. Literally all French. And unfortunately, neither my mother or myself speak French. So we're going around and we're trying to figure out, where's the rental car return? Where do we have to go? And I have to say, I was so lucky that it was like a giant roundabout, almost like something that you would see in London around Hyde Park or something, this giant roundabout, except on a really, really big scale, because we just kept having to go around and around and around, because we didn't know where we were going. I mean, we knew that there were that somewhere really close at hand was where we needed to take the right exit point so that we could get to the rental car location to return our rental car. And then from there, of course, they would take us to the airport where we'd go through security and be on our way. But even when you know all these different things and you're going like, but which exit do I take? There's all these things available. Oh my gosh. The level of frustration, overwhelm, I just anger that at the end of our journey, this was our experience, that we didn't even know where and to get our exit. Which exit do we take to return the rental car? It was a terrible end to our experience flying out of that airport. So here's the thing, that's the journey. And we ended on this really sour note because we had this incredible frustration and feeling of like, oh my gosh. So today we are going to look at your client pain points and how, last week we revealed how to identify your client pain points, I should say, for breakthrough momentum. So what we just talked about was a pain point. And today we're going to be exploring your client journey and why creating delight at every step of your client journey soars profits. In this episode, you will learn why mapping your client journey is an essential building block of good sales strategy. And I'm going to walk you through my exclusive SAMI methodology, SAMI. By the end of today's show, you will know how to align your sales, relationship, and client stages. You're going to chart associated activities with each stage and determine existing influences. You're going to identify gaps, areas of friction, places you shine, and pain points for immediate process improvements. By creating delight at every stage of their experience when working with you, your clients will become raving fans, purchase more, and deliver valuable referrals. So let's get started and go through the content. First of all, how do you create this ease and delight for your clients? What's this process look like? Well, I just mentioned, we're going to identify gaps. You're going to go through this process to look for, where are there gaps in their experience? Like, are the signs in English or French, so that they can have ease of the journey, right? What are areas of friction? Well, that's not just a gap, that's an area of friction. So a gap and an area of friction or a pain point can all be stacked on top of each other. That's like a triple threat, right? And when you identify those areas of pain points and where you shine, it enables you to create and implement immediate process improvements. Because when you see a critical gap like that, there are ways that you can fill that gap either on a short-term or intermediary basis, and then go back and really create a better process or a better transition so the gap is erased and the friction disappears. And the entire goal that we are working on today is to enhance your client experience. Because when people are thrilled about the experience of working with you, of course they want to share it. And they're going to share it by giving you a testimonial that can be posted onto your social media, that they can give you in person. They can write a review for you on your website, on Google, Google My Business. There's so many different places they can provide you with reviews on your Facebook page, on LinkedIn, right? So it's just this opportunity. They can do a video testimonial with you, by the way, that you can put on your website. You can pull that social proof in from that great review and add that onto your social media as posts and onto your website as social proof. And of course, they will become an opportunity for referrals when you ask for the referral, because they've had this wonderful experience. And why wouldn't they want to share that experience with the people they know, their friends, their family, their colleagues, their peers? And so that is why creating a delightful client experience is so vitally important. So let's talk about the methodology. So I have a very specific SAMI process, and I'm going to get into that in just a minute. Don't worry, it's all going to be revealed. But when we look at methodology, we're really looking at how we align the sales, relationship, and client stages. And in my methodology, we call those strands. And so there's a sales, relationship, and client, because from the sales perspective, people are at different stages in the journey where they've just met you versus what that relationship looks like. That's where you're just that budding relationship. And from the client, they've just found out about you, right? And so we align that and we go through the entire process. Next, we're going to be charting associated activities with each stage of the client journey. And whatever those activities are, such as they see a Facebook ad and they click on that and they find out about you from that. That was that attraction and that spark, right? And so what are those activities? Someone asked to schedule a one-on-one meeting with you, and now you have a strategy session. That's an activity, right? An associated activity. And of course, through this, we also want to determine what are existing influences. Now, influences go beyond just the client's realm, such as the influences around them in their orbit, how familiar they are with your product or service or the market, how many people are going to be influencing their decision, their family, friends, partners, etc. And of course, their own psychographics, their behavioral tendencies on those influences. But there's also influences that you have, your company reputation, having those 5-star reviews on Google My Business, having people on your team and how they present themselves to the world. Those are influences. They also may know people that they can bring in. So there's a whole number of ways that those influences work. And we're going to be working through all of that today. All right, the big reveal, the SAMI Client Journey Map Framework. So SAMI, by the way, is for sales, activities, methodology, and influences. So there's the acronym. And what we're going to be doing is, as you work through this exercise, I'm going to have you draw 4 columns on a sheet of paper. And at the very top, you're going to list 1, 2, 3, 4. And those are our 4 strands. And then we're going to start creating lanes. So we have the sales lane, and then we have relationships. So over on the far left, I have to think about this, the far left column, you're going to have a sales, and then you'll have relationship, and then you're going to have client. That in itself is the core lane for that sales relationship client. That's that SAMI, S for SAMI. Next, we're going to put a line, a horizontal line, left to right, and we're going to add on that vertical over on the left, activities, and in parentheses, steps. So these are both the activities that people go through when they become connected with you. So an idea for that is when I'm going to explain this further. So somebody opts in with a lead magnet. So they've done that step. They've opted into a lead magnet. And what are some of the associated steps and activities that occur? Well, they're going to receive an email that may provide them with either the item that they clicked on to download, or a button where they can go and they go to another page and then they can download it from there. And it triggers a welcome sequence to welcome them into your community, right? So those are the types of activities and steps that would occur. Then we have methodology. That's once again going to go on that left side, and that's going underneath activities and steps. So put a rule between activities and methodology, and then we're going to create that spot for methodology. And one of the key things when we're looking at the methodology with this is that these are the touch points, the areas of friction, the client why, the openings, and the gaps within your client journey, the pain points, and your spheres of excellence. Isn't that fantastic? Because we want to capture those because we can replicate them in other parts of the client journey. Now, the last item on the left is going to be influences. And the influences, once again, they're going to align with every one of the lanes, the lane 1, 2, 3, and 4. And those influences really capture the things that we've been talking about. So from sales, of course, sales is and their sales team, whether you're a single solo entrepreneur or you run a company and you have a sales team, those salespeople, of course, are influencers in the decision and in that client journey. A big part of that, right? You also have marketing. Marketing influences your clients along their journey, especially with that attraction and spark, and then supporting sales through the client journey. Management, how you structure things, that you've thought out your sales strategy and that you have clearly defined processes, that you have tools that are available, that there's transparency along the journey. All of that influences your client journey. And of course, operations. Now, this is whether you're delivering a physical product or a virtual product. Operations are involved with both because once again, it's the client through points. So let's say they go to an online course and there's a link that they need to click to download a workbook or something, and it doesn't work. That's an operational thing that there's been a break, and that's causing a pain point. It's causing an area of friction. And obviously that's something that would need to be fixed. So operationally, that works in both cases, but certainly from a manufacturing or a product or service delivery perspective, how the client experiences both receiving that product, what it looks like when they open up their package, that it's in perfect, pristine condition, it's packaged beautifully. And this is a really important influence. Think about this. And this is at the end of the client journey because they've decided to make that purchase. And for any of you who've ever opened an Apple product, you've made a purchase and you've purchased an Apple product, it is an experience into itself, the way everything is packaged. And what they're doing is they're evoking emotions and feelings. It's just like, wow, it just blows you away how well it's packaged and the experience of opening it. And that's that final step almost in that client journey. Although in there, you've got to turn it on, make it work, yada, yada. But it's creating this incredible experience when you're opening that package. So that's what I'm talking about. Influences, all those things influence your client journey and their delight along the way. Okay, I want to talk about those 4 columns I had you do. So I had you labeled them 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, what's 1? 1 is phase 1. That's how the clients find out about us. This is what's important. This is that critical part of where you create that spark, where you create the attraction. That's all about that client thinking, tapping into those pain points so that you can give them the right message to attract and connect, right? So that's lane 1. Lane 2 is what clients consider when they evaluate your products or service. And that is another really important piece. So I want you to think about how that ties in with your product or service, because it's how does the product or service benefit them, right? Once again, that client thinking. So you've attracted them. They found out about you. They've made that spark and that connection. Now phase 2 is consideration. They're considering how they're going to work with you and why it matters and how it's going to benefit them, right? So in phase 3, it's really about what clients examine when they select us as a provider. So this is that decision-making process. You're guiding the client to a decision. So in a sales, that's a very critical step because you are going to be asking for the sale, but your client drives the sale because they make the decision to move forward or not. And so this is where the so they can absolutely ties in so critically so that they can determine that, yes, they want to move forward. So the so they can, they're also tapping into who we are as an organization, what we offer, those referrals and references, those reviews, all of those things kick in. Okay, phase 4 within that client journey. It's how our clients interact with us day to day, how we create that delightful experience, how we manage our relationship, and how we expand opportunities, both for doing additional business with them and receiving those wonderful, wonderful, wonderful warm referrals. All right, so let's go through each of these and we're going to go through that first phase of activities. So remember, that's on our left-hand column. And what are the activities that are associated with our column 1? Well, it's that spark. It's that every step or touch point that is an activity. That client experience of working with you and your organization, and the client why and evaluation. So number 1, we've got the spark. We're going to have that targeted ideal client avatar. We've got the client why, right? We're going to be communicating with the client, our messaging, our language, the feelings and emotions, tapping into their motivations, right? We're going to be delivering value. We're going to be performing outreach. And of course, we're going to qualify the lead so that we can move them forward into phase 2. So what does phase 2? That's cultivating the relationship. Now we've started the relationship. Now we're going to cultivate it. And that client why. Are we answering the why they should be working with us, right? We're going to be, once again, communicating and delivering value. We're going to be performing additional outreach activities, a welcome email sequence. They'll be going into a newsletter. They'll have opportunities to join workshops or opportunities to have demonstrations of your product or service or receive samples, whatever that happens to be. You'll perform presentations, whatever those are, right? You could be literally in the client's office doing a presentation of your product or service. And there's lots of follow-up. Follow-up really kicks in at stage 2. So then we go to stage 3. So remember, now that we're looking at our columns, this is negotiation closing, and the transition from being a prospect to becoming a client. So these are such critical steps. And you have to have all your objections down so that you can have answered those, hopefully in stage 2, but also asking for the sale and guiding the client to the decision. And stage 4, now it's about who's the account team, who are they working with? What's that client care look like? What's the ongoing business? Are you performing quarterly business reviews? What type of potential expansion and opportunities are there for your client? And asking for referrals to fill your funnel again and shorten your sales cycle and build more profit. So that takes us through the activities. So let's talk about our next, influences. So influence is a big part when you're looking at activities. These are existing relationship assets. This could be the market or industry reputation, your market or industry reputation. It can take a lifetime to build a reputation, and it can be destroyed in 5 minutes. So you need to guard that very carefully. Networking effects, and this isn't like social networking. This is a little bit differently. So it is that sense of who do you know within your network, but I want you to expand that. Who's on your team? Who do they know? And those networking effects and how they're perceived out there can definitely influence the perception of your organization and your company. So that's an important piece to recognize. How you can access your resources and all the different resources you have. Once again, within your community of your team members, the company, your local community and people you can tap into, what's available, your own peers and partners. The knowledge that this collective knowledge that you bring to the experience for the client, that is going to influence them. And of course, your own skills and experience. That is an absolutely critical factor when we look at how that's going to influence your client's decision. So when we go through this, once again, we're going to go through each of those stages. And here's some examples. If you miss an appointment, that's going to influence your client's perception of what it's like to work with you. Oh, I mean, man, that's just like a stake through the heart. Don't do that, right? Of course not. Another one would be receiving a poor review. Wow. So I want you to remember the client's perspective is always truth from their eyes. So that's meeting them, finding out how you can make that better to have that review removed. What can you do to satisfy them and turn them into a positive? So that's an important piece. And when you're going through these different stages all the way across your map, you're going to be breaking down each step of your client experience, and you're going to also be testing that experience. What does it look like? And I want you to really dive deep for clarity. So from that initial spark, they see a Facebook post, they click on the blog article, they go to the article, there's an opt-in on the page so that they can sign up for your newsletter. All right, see, so I'm taking you through the journey. Now, when they opt into that newsletter, they receive a welcome email. And then what does that welcome sequence look like? How are you delivering value and reinforcing their decision to join your community? That you're delivering a wow, this is pretty cool. Look at what else I'm getting as I've joined this experience. All right. And then how do you nurture that relationship so that they're in your funnel now and that this is the funnel? How are you driving them to take action so that you're delivering opportunities for them to participate in activities, events, whatever those happen to be, to schedule a meeting to work with you. You may have direct sales outreach to follow up if they have questions or to initiate that discussion. So what's that process look like? So I want you to go through each and every one of those. And then as a client has those one-on-one discussions with you, or if they have a funnel that they can click through and make a decision because they signed up for a workshop, they learn about a product or a program that you offer, and they can sign up right there, then that experience of working through them, being part of that program and that service. How does that look, right? So guiding them from prospect to client, and then building the relationship to nurture. Now, I use a really terrific tool for this. It's called MindMup. It's a free tool. You need to use it with Google Chrome, but what's really neat about it is you can brainstorm and do free-form thinking. It allows you to do visualization and task identification. So when you see a pain point, a gap, or an area of friction, you can figure out how I'm going to fix that. So all of that is really helpful. And I want to encourage you to give that a try. Like I said, it's super simple to use. It's very intuitive. And you can literally do what I did, just create those columns at the top and then the lines at the side and start mapping out what's that client experience look like. This is a very vital tool. And the long-term reason is that when you create this incredible client experience, they're going to want to share that. All right. Especially when you ask, you need to ask for the review, ask for a testimonial, ask for a referral, ask for more business. All right. So we're going to be going into that and that the whole mindset piece so that you can ask for the sale to get more clients. Because remember, when you know and you're coming from genuine, worthy intent that you can truly help and serve your client, then don't you have an obligation to ask for the sale to help them, to be able to serve them? That's what's so beautiful. When you come with worthy intent, with a true desire to help and serve them, it's a lot easier to ask for the sale because you know in your heart that you're going to be able to deliver the quality, the service, the product, the breakthrough, the transformation that they need so that they can get that so they can move forward in their business, in their professional life, in their personal life, help their team members, help their community, create the impact. That's the ripple. And that's what's so beautiful about this. And when you create the process map, so you can identify what your client experience is when they work with you, you can make those adjustments immediately and on the fly to make sure they do have a delightful experience. And you're not causing any areas of friction to block that beautiful thing at the end where you can ask for those reviews and those referrals. Now, and I want to remember that even if someone decides not to do business with you, they may still think so highly of what you do and what you offer that they will refer other people to you. Maybe it's not right for them now, or it's not what they're looking for their specific individual need, but they know somebody else who is. They know a Louise or a Sweatbana, someone else who can absolutely tap in to use this. And that's why this is such a beautiful solution. So I want to thank you so much for tuning in. And my purpose is to get you more clients. And on behalf of the Win-Win Women Network, I have carved out a limited number of time slots to invite you to hop on an Ignite Your Sales call with me to see what's working and not working and what you would love to have working. And I'm going to see how I might further support you in effectively generating more leads, converting more sales, and fulfilling on your promise as a brand and organization. The fastest way to success is to assure people that they know they matter. And the best way for this to happen is to build a consistent sales strategy to acquire, convert, and capitalize on every lead. You will find growing your business is easy and lucrative. So today we looked at why creating delight at every step of your client journey soars profits. And the key is for you to implement these steps to stop wasting time, energy, and resources. So you have the opportunity to jump in and get the support you need for true success. Say yes to you and get on a call with me. I'm truly gifted at this, and you deserve to shortcut your success with the right support. You can go to P2Q, P, the digit 2, Q, bit.ly/win-win. You can also connect with me on our website. And of course, to stay current on all our insightful advice, breakthrough advantage, and never miss an episode of Get More Clients, you can sign up for our weekly wisdoms newsletter at petitetoqueen.com. I am so grateful that you were here with me today, and I'll see you all next week on Get More Clients.